and welcome to the International Long Drive Challenge from Montego Bay, Jamaica. We're at the historic Cinnamon Hill Golf Course, where Quantum International Team 1 takes on Quantum International Team 2. And now to our host, John Bartlett, and our co-host, Rick Benoit.
From the Cinnamon Hill Golf Course in Montego Bay, Jamaica, it's the International Long Drive Challenge, Quantum Team 1 versus Quantum Team 2. Hi, everyone, and welcome. I'm John Bartlett alongside Rick Benoit. And Rick, we are going to have a fantastic event here today with some huge long drive hitters, but let's explain what Quantum Team 1 and 2 is all about.
Well, John, you know, this is a unique event in that Quantum Driving from South Africa has come over to Jamaica, Montego Bay, and Cinnamon Hill, and has invited some international hitters to compete on their Quantum teams. I have fortunate to be invited onto that team, and it's a great honor for us to compete with the South Africans, who are fantastic long ball hitters.
Well, we'll have an international flavor indeed to this event here today. It will consist of 3 men's open hitters. Each team will also have a senior men's competitor and a ladies competitor, and the top scores will be added up, and that is how we'll have our winner here today. Big hitters and a lot of long balls to come. Let's get it underway. Well, here's a look at our rules and regulations for the event today. Each hitter is going to have 3 minutes to hit their 6 balls. We'll have 2 hitters in the tee box at the same time. The ball must come to rest inside the grid to count, and measurements are taken from the furthest point of the ball. The grid is 420 yards long by 45 yards wide. The clubs cannot exceed 50 inches in length, and all clubs must conform to USGA rules. And the view down the grid from the tee box, that's what the competitors will look at. That's what they're aiming for. And the first 2 aiming for the grid are DeWald Opperman and Marnus Forey.
You know, John, the grid is dry. We haven't had a lot of rain, so we should see quite a bit of roll out there today.
And the 2 competitors, little high-five handshake to get things underway, and leading it off will be DeWald Opperman, as the other competitors like to crowd around just to keep an eye on how everyone's hitting.
Yeah, I know a lot of power in these 2 South African teams, so we should see some big hits in this round.
Opperman's first shot out of bounds. Here comes drive number 2. And it is a good one.
Come left! Come left!
Wants it to come back left a little, and egging it on as it will clear the 400-yard marker and sticks in at 404 yards.
And again, you know, you really want to open up with a number, and he's posted one in his first 3, and that's exactly what you need to do. Get a number up on the board so you can really go after it.
Marnus Forey now with his second drive, his first one out of bounds. And he's got a heck of a drive as well. Great start for both competitors here as they're going to clear the 400-yard marker, and Marnus Forey lands in at 419 yards, just shy of the end of the grid.
And you can really see how this head-to-head competition is really exciting, you know.
And if you think that drive is long, here's DeWald Opperman talking about his longest hit.
My longest hit was in August this year, hitting a 421 yard. Tried to smash it as well. Everything just worked. Basically, my game is just consistency. Try to get a proper golf swing and try to hit it long. The more consistent, the bigger it'll go.
Well, a pretty good drive there for DeWald Opperman as that lands in 402 yards. So everybody's clearing the 400-yard marker here.
Yeah, and you can see that dry grid out there. That ball's really getting a lot of roll.
Marnus Forey now up with his next drive, and that one is going to sail its way down the grid, but is going to land out of bounds. So 419 still his best.
And John, you can see between these 2 competitors with 2 in the tee box how when one posts a number, it really makes the other guy chase.
And Opperman trying to chase Forey here with this one. Look at this blast heading down the grid. Easily clears the 400-yard marker past the 410 and just a little shy of the 420. This one will stop at 417 yards.
Wow, another great drive for DeWald, and you saw it get caught up in the tall grass there. It would have far surpassed the 420 mark.
4th drive now for Marnus Forey, and that one is going to sail its way out of bounds.
And that sky looks really ominous in the background right now, John, but you know what? I'll tell you, it is hot and it is dry.
Time now for the 6th and final drive for DeWald Opperman. And he unloads another one. Boy, if he's consistent with his distance, this is unbelievable. Another one heading towards the 400-yard marker. Could you imagine if you went out golfing every day and could consistently drive 400 yards? Well, Opperman does, and this one lands at 405 yards.
Definitely put on a show for us there. DeWald had a great set. 405 on his last ball. That is awesome.
Final drive now for Marnus Forey. Can he top the 419?
Come on. Fly.
Well, this one is flying a little high on him, and it'll come down and kick past the 370 marker, keeps on rolling and stops at 391 yards for Marnus Forey. But Forey's blast of 419 yards, the best in this head-to-head competition.
Well, you can see here this big shoulder turn, gets all the way around and stays behind the golf ball right through his swing.
And he loves the course and this area.
Yes, brilliantly. Just beautiful course. Yesterday we went to drive up with around the whole golf course. It's the most beautiful course I've ever seen. People are friendly, smiling all the time. Like they say, no problem, man.
And on we go to round two as the ladies will step up to the tee. Leandri Van Roonen taking on Liesel Differenthal.
Again, you know, this team competition is so exciting because you've got all components. You've got the open division, you've got females, and you've got seniors all competing against each other, but as a unit, as a team.
Liesel will be the first hitter in this second round here of the Quantum Team 1 versus 2 competition, the International Long Drive Challenge. And Liesel's first shot is sailing wide, and that one will land out of the grid.
And again, John, you know, you really want to try and get one of those first three balls in and put the pressure on your opponent. And you know what? Liesel failed to do that. Let's see if Leandri can do it.
And that is such a big factor when you're trying to warm up your swing, especially in the head-to-head as we have in this competition, is trying to get that first one in to take a little pressure off.
Absolutely, and you know, it's so important for these competitors in a team format to do that. Post a score for your team.
Well, Leandri's shot heading down the side of the grid. It looks like it'll stick in and does, right down to the middle. And that one will stop just shy of the 300-yard marker at 299 yards.
Not a bad ball at all, and what a great way to start for her first ball, and she's posted a score. Now she can really go after it and swing out of her shoes.
Liesel will step up for her second drive here now, trying to put one in the grid. Has a mark of 299 on the board to try and beat, and that's a pretty good shot. And that one is going to sail past the 300-yard marker, and it looks like it might make it to the 310.
Yeah, and again, you know, you can see the intensity and focus in her swing and in her face as she looks down the grid at that ball that ended up at 310.
So Leandri now stepping up for her second drive and has a mark of 310 to try and beat.
And you can see she's taking her time. She's trying to settle in and relax a little bit because she knows she's posted a number, and now she really wants to go after it, trying to visualize it as it goes down the grid.
Well, a pretty good shot here for Leandri. Is that one's going to make its way down the middle of the grid? And can she beat the 310-yard marker that's up there right now? It's got a good roll to it, and it will stop, though, at 305 yards.
Wow, I mean, look at that. 310, 305. What a competition between these two ladies.
Liesel's fifth drive now, and that one is going to sail its way out of bounds. Same with her previous two shots.
And again, you know, these professionals, you can see in their faces, they know the minute that ball leaves the club face, whether it's going to be in the grid and decent or whether they've gone out of bounds.
Almost like a baseball player when they say you never feel the home run ball hit the bat. It's the same way with the golf club when you get that big drive, isn't it?
Absolutely. When you hit it sweet on that sweet spot, it's one unit. The club, your arms, your body, it's all one.
Well, a good hit there for Leandri on her fifth drive. It's going to make the grid. Looks a little short, though, as it gets by the 260 and will stop at 268 yards.
Yeah, that one had a little bit of spin on it, and you saw when it landed, it checked up a little bit right at the start, which is why she ended up with the 268.
Liesel's back up now for her sixth and final drive. 310 yards, her best so far. And that one is going to sail wide and out of bounds. So 310, the best marker on the board for Liesel.
And again, you know, great competitors, but, you know, Leandri knows she's got 5 yards to make up here, and can she do it?
And she tries to put as much as she can into that sixth and final drive, but it won't make the grid as it lands out of bounds.
Again, you know, you try and try again so hard to get that extra 5 yards, and that's what happens. You end up pushing it right or pulling it left.
So a very close head-to-head battle there with the ladies, but it is Liesel that comes out front at 310 yards.
Great shoulder turn, and she followed through.
So after 2 rounds, it is a very close competition with just about 7 yards separating Quantum Team 1 and Quantum Team 2. Stay tuned, more big hitters to come as the International Long Drive Challenge continues.
This portion of the program brought to you by Lanky Rat Creations, original inspired art.
Welcome back to Cinnamon Hill Golf Course in Montego Bay, Jamaica for the International Long Drive Challenge as the International Quantum Teams 1 and 2 go head-to-head. Only about 7 yards separate the two as we head into round 3 as Lumar Forey will square off with Jason Cook.
And again, you can see these two South African hitters. They're both hitting great equipment, 7.5 degree House of Ford shafts, Adams speed heads and SMT heads. Latest equipment's out there, and these guys are using it.
And we expect some big hits from these competitors. Remember when DeWald Operman and Marnus Forey in round 1, both going over 400 yards.
And you know what? Again, these South Africans are great athletes and led by Gerhard Coatsy, their captain. An incredible team, great competitors, world-class athletes.
Lumar Forey steps up to the tee here for his first drive to kick things off in round 3.
And you can see the intensity and the visualization in his face as he lines it up and visualizes that ball going down the grid.
Well, that one kicked away on him, and it will land out of bounds, so he won't post a score on his first drive, although got a fairly good distance on it to warm up.
Yeah, out of bounds, and he pushed it to the right, which means, his club face is open when he's coming through the golf ball. He needs to close that club face up a little bit and get the hands moving a bit faster.
We'll see now if Jason Cook can get on the board with his first drive. And you can tell by the reaction of his face right away that one is out of bounds.
And again, these guys know when they're hitting a golf ball. As soon as that ball leaves the club head face, they know whether it's in or out.
Lumar Forey up for his second drive. See if he can get one on the board here.
Oh, baby.
And he loves this course.
Oh, it's fantastic. This is the most beautiful place I've ever seen. We actually took a drive around the golf course, and it's one of the most beautiful courses I've been on so far. So it's fantastic, and the weather is great as well.
Well, he's got a drive of 404 yards to show for it as Jason Cook now steps up with his second drive and answers back with a pretty deep blast of his own.
And again, great shoulder turn, but these guys are also watching the weather. That wind's starting to swirl up there, and right now the grid is dry. You can see that the wind's at their back. Judging by that flag, they're getting a lot of distance and roll out of the ball.
Well, he got a lot of roll on that one. It's outside of the grid at 423 yards. Well, drive number 5 out of bounds for Lumar, and here is his 6th and final drive, trying to top his best marker of 404 yards.
Sometimes you have to settle down in that tee box and really concentrate on technique in your swing.
And that one is going to sail out of bounds as well, so 404 yards will be the best shot for Lumar in this one. Jason Cook with a chance now to try and best his marker of 423 yards.
Two great competitors, though. Both over 400 yards. That's just a fantastic set for both competitors.
And Cook's shot also sailing outside. It's out of bounds, but his drive of 423 yards, the best between himself and Forey in this head-to-head.
And the sportsmanship there is fantastic. And you can see in Jason Cook's swing here, he gets a huge shoulder turn, cranks those hips, and follows through.
And he says it's all about the great exposure for the sport.
I think it's awesome. I think we're going to get a lot of coverage out of us, and it's going to open a lot of doors for a lot of different people, including Canada and South Africa as countries. Let's put them all on the board. I'm looking, hopefully trying to get a little bit more distance, keep the people happy with what they're seeing, and stop being so nervous. But it's been pretty good.
Well, after 3 rounds, it is a close one here between Quantum Team 1 and Quantum Team 2. Less than 30 yards separate these two squads.
What a great competition between these two South African and international squads. Can't say enough about the competitors and their sportsmanship in this event. Let's see if we can add to this.
More to come when we return to the International Long Drive Challenge.
This portion of the program brought to you by Starks Golf Course. Great family golfing.
Welcome back to Cinnamon Hill Golf Course in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and the International Long Drive Challenge as we have the International Quantum Team 1 taking on Quantum Team 2. And less than 30 yards separate the two squads, and we'll have two Canadians go head-to-head here as part of the international team.
You know, Bill Stark, Daryl Braniff, both veterans of this sport, and they can both bring it to the tee box. They can both hit a long ball. So let's see if they can continue this 400-plus trend we've seen.
And a little fun for them here as they'll go up against each other in this international competition, while many times they have competed alongside each other for Team Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. And you'll see, great camaraderie between these two and a great history. And like I said before, they can both bring it to the tee box. So let's see who can get the job done.
Bill Stark will lead it off first with the opening drive. And he got that one off clean.
Turn, baby. Turn, baby. Coming in.
And it's going to make its way down the grid. Looks like it'll stick in for a score. And it clears the 340-yard marker at 344 yards.
And you can see, great big hop there right off the kick and got some roll out of it. Got about 15 yards of roll. So we're still pretty dry in that grid right now.
Daryl Braniff now will step up for his first drive.
Daryl's a veteran of the sport. Good shoulder turn. He just left that one out to the right just a little bit. Got to close that club head face.
And it will sail out of bounds. As you can see, some of the dark clouds starting to make their way in. So the wind changing direction, swirling a little, picking up at different times, affecting the hitters now.
Absolutely. Wind, rain, the environment really has an effect on this game.
Well, Bill Stark pulls this one off. His third drive looking good, and that will bounce down to 362 yards.
A great drive for Billy. A little bit more air time there. Got a little more distance in the air, about 350, and a little less roll on the ground.
Daryl Braniff now set for drive number 3. He is yet to put one in the grid.
Come on, Daryl, give me
And it looks like it's going to stay that way.
And, even with veterans, they still have a hard time sometimes with the nerves and settling themselves down, finding that groove. Daryl needs to find that groove.
And that is out of bounds as we jump ahead now to Bill Stark's 5th drive. And when you have a few in the grid like that, you can really relax, and Stark showing that one here. This is another good-looking drive. You hear him say it. Good-looking drive, and wants it to stay in, and it will stick in just shy of the 380 at 379 yards.
Yeah, Billy's having a lot of fun with this right now. As you said, it's unique having Daryl in a tee box with him, and he's putting on a show right now. He's having a lot of fun with this.
Daryl Braniff now stepping up for drive number 5, has still not put one in the grid. 0 for 4 so far.
Daryl's not having as much fun, John.
No, he's not. And that one also is going to sail its way out of bounds. So Daryl Braniff 0 for 5 now, as Bill Stark will have a chance here to try and increase his numbers in drive number 6.
And again, this is a team event, and we're really close here. 30 yards separating both teams with these two hitters coming into the tee box. Daryl knows the importance now of getting a ball in the grid.
Final drive for Bill Stark. And he gets that one off clean, and it looks like it might be his best drive of all of them.
Yeah, he's liking that one. You can always tell when Billy likes to drive. He likes to egg it on a little bit, and there it is. 386 yards for Bill Stark. And now Daryl Braniff on his 6th and final drive has to try and get one in the grid. Yeah, you can see by Daryl's face there, he's not too happy with that either. So,
and that one will pull out of bounds, so Daryl Braniff unable to get a score on the board, and Bill Stark's drive of 386 yards will win in the head-to-head competition.
Again, you can see here Billy really turns and stays well behind the ball and swings right through it.
And he feels very welcome here at Cinnamon Hill.
The host venue, Cinnamon Hills. Been fantastic to deal with. I can't say enough for Robert Ames. He's been great. The course itself is just beautiful. Anybody really needs to see this. They've got waterfalls, and the historic value of the property is just amazing. Beautiful layout. We've got the sea behind us. The clubhouse is good. The staff, the people here are very good. I can't say enough about them. They've been great with us.
Well, after 4 rounds, it is Quantum Team 1 that is out front now by almost 400 yards.
That close 30-yard spread just became 400 in a hurry.
Amazing how that can change. Stay tuned. A couple more big hitters still to come in the International Long Drive Challenge.
This portion of the program brought to you by Joe Sutherland Rentals for all your television production needs.
Welcome back to Cinnamon Hill Golf Course in Montego Bay, Jamaica, in the International Long Drive Challenge. International Quantum Team 1 against Quantum Team 2 as we come to our fifth and final hitters, as Gerhard Coetzee will take on our own Rick Benoit.
And there's a 400-yard spread here, but I can't stress enough how important it is to get a ball into the grid. Gerhard, I was watching him over on the range, and he can really bring it. He's a guy who can hit the ball 400 yards.
And as we saw in the last round, it's amazing how quick a competition like this can change. It can be close 1 minute, but as you said, just one tough competition for a hitter can turn the game right around.
Absolutely. If Gerhard goes 400 and I have a bad set and go for 6, it turns again.
All right, Gerhard Coetzee will line up for his first drive. And he is a big hitter and can post numbers over 400 regularly.
And a great competitor and athlete, Can't say enough about him and his team.
Well, he knew right off the tee that was going to be a solid shot, and it sure is, as it makes its way all the way down the grid, past the 400 marker, past the 410, and it will stop at 412 yards.
And again, John, we say how important it is to get one of those first 3 in so that you can really go after your next 5 balls. But as I said to Gerhard in the box, it wasn't really fair to start off that way.
Okay. It's okay.
Well, here comes drive number 1 now for Rick Benoit. And the first shot is going to sail itself wide and out of the grid.
Again, I got to get one of those first 3 in so I can really post a score here. It's important that I post a score.
Coetzee now lining up for his third drive. His second one was out of bounds. .412 yards was drive number 1. He wants it to stay. You can hear the fans know that's going to be a big one.
Yeah, he's feeling it there. He knows that's a big ball, and so do I. So I know I got a lot to catch up here.
415 yards for Gerhard Coetzee. What a drive on number 3.
And again, I still haven't posted a score here, so my thought is I got to get a number on the board for my team.
Drive number 3 with the first 2 out of bounds for Rick Benoit. And that one is looking pretty good, and I think it's going to stick in the grid, and that will be the score. But the question is, what will it score? It's a deep drive heading past the 410 marker and rolls up to stop at 416 yards. There's that all-important score that you need on the board.
Absolutely. You know what? And there's that camaraderie and sportsmanship, 1 yard separating us, and we still don't have an official score back.
Warmed up now, man. Come on.
So drive number 4 now for Gerhard Coetzee. He has hit drives of 412 and 415 yards.
And he knows I've got him by a yard now, so he's really going after this.
And you can tell right away off the tee that one is heading out of bounds. And there it goes. So Rick Benoit now getting set for drive number 4, but has that all-important score up on the board.
And again, I have 1 yard separating the two of us here on an unofficial score back, so I still need to poke one out there just to get it into the grid for insurance.
And Rick's shot is sailing out of bounds, so he won't be able to put one up on the board there.
Yeah, you know what? Overswung it a little bit and pulled it to the left as a result.
Well, both hitters go out of bounds on drive number 5, and here is the 6th and final drive for Gerhard Coetzee.
And make no mistake about it, Gerhard's going after it right here. He knows 416 is the number to beat, and he's going to try and do it.
So Gerhard Coetzee now lining up for his 6th and final drive. And that one is going to sail its way outside of the grid, and it will be out of bounds. But 415 yards, the best drive for Gerhard Coetzee.
And again, 1 yard separating the two of us there. What a great competition between Gerhard and myself, and what a great competitor.
So the final drive now for Rick Benoit, and that's one of the things I guess we could talk about is that sportsmanship that we see between all these hitters.
Absolutely, from both sides, from Canada, from Jamaica, from the U.S. It really doesn't matter where you're from. The camaraderie and long drive amongst the athletes is by far the best that I've ever seen.
And Rick Benoit's final shot up in the air, and that one as well will be out of bounds And Rick will take Gerhard by a yard, 416 to 415.
And you can see on the replay here, I get a good shoulder turn in. I come all the way around, and I stay behind the golf ball.
And here's Gerhard Coetzee talking about the key to a good hit.
Stop shaking, firstly, just to get the nerves under control. And then it's all just about keeping the rhythm. When you're on there and there's a bit of pressure and a bit of stress and all the other guys have hit 400-yard balls and you've got to get one over 400, the main thing is not to tense up and to keep your rhythm. And then, of course, thanks to Cinnamon Hill and to Robert Ames, who's the golf director here, for allowing us to use this facility. I mean, a beautiful course that looks out onto the Caribbean Sea. You don't really get any better than that, so wonderful.
Well, here's how the scores shaped up today. Quantum Team 1, DeWald Opperman had 417 yards, but 3 of the 5 hit over 400.
Again, when you have a competition like that where 3 out of the 5 are over 400 yards, that's an incredible event.
Same with team number 2, but Jason Cook leads the way at 423 yards. And with that, the winners in the head-to-head competition are Quantum Team number 1.
Yeah, you know what? Daryl Braniff going 0 for 6 really took us out of the hunt for a win on that event.
Time now for the big hit of the day, and for that, we'll take you back to Jason Cook as he steps up and unloads a 423-yard blast.
And you can see the power in that swing, and that great shoulder turn, stays behind the ball with that wide, stable stance. Great shot.
Well, an unbelievable event here today as the two Quantum teams go head-to-head, but it really showcased the international level of talent in long drive.
Well, John, an incredible event between these two teams. Internationally, South Africa, Canadians had the opportunity to compete in this event, and it was an incredible event today. Great hitters, great event.
And Jason Cook, of course, topped it off with a blast of 423 yards. Now, if you're at home and thinking that you can hit a long ball as well and want to take part in this international event, you certainly can if you go online.
All you got to do is log on to www.international long drive challenge and look for the local qualifier nearest you. You too can be a long baller.
And maybe you could be playing for your country at the next International Long Drive Challenge. That'll do it for our show here today. Thanks for joining us. For Rick Benoit, I'm John Bartlett. We'll see you next time.
For further information on local qualifying events, log on to www.internationallongdrivechallenge.com.